All right, I'm going to do a very quick lesson on multiplying and dividing fractions. Okay, so the simplest case is if you just have two proper fractions that you want to multiply together. You simply multiply the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. This is a step that you don't have to show, but that's the way that the problem works. Top times top and bottom times bottom. When you get finished, you should look at it and see if it can reduce, and if it cannot reduce, then you're all done. Okay? Let's take a look at another situation. If you were saying multiplying 2/3 times 7/4, you can actually work this problem two ways. You can do top times top, which is 14, bottom times bottom, which is 12, and then reduce the fraction by dividing both the top and the bottom by 2, and gives you the answer 7/6. Or, if you notice it, you can reduce the problem at the beginning. You'll notice that the 2 and the 4 can both be divided by 2. This is called cross-reducing or cross-canceling, and you can do that if you want to. Then when you multiply across the top, instead of saying 2 times 7, you say 1 times 7. And instead of saying 3 times 4, you say 3 times 2, and you get, you get to that answer maybe just a little bit faster. Okay? Cross-reducing or cross-canceling. Okay? If you have a whole number involved, you typically want to write that whole number over 1, just to keep everything straight. And again, I'm going to do this by cross-reducing. I'm going to divide the 4 and the 8 by 4, and that gives me an answer of 7/2. Okay? Sometimes you can reduce more than one thing. In this case, I can reduce the 2 with the 8. The 2 is going to reduce to a 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And I can also reduce the 3 with a 9. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then when you work your way across this, you say 1 times 4, and that gives you 4, and 1 times 3, and that gives you 3. We want to leave this answer in reduced form, but we do not want to change it into a mixed number. In fact, as the next example, if you get a mixed number, the first thing you want to do is change each one of those mixed numbers into an improper fraction. So the first one, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 4 is 7, gives you 7/2. And the second one, 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5, gives you 5/2. I don't see any reducing that I can do, so I'm going to say top times top. 7 times 5 is 35, and 2 times 2 is 4. I do not change it back into a mixed number. We prefer our answers in the improper fraction form. Okay, now for dividing, you really just have to add in one extra step. You have to divide the fraction 1/2 divided by 3/4. You simply do one extra step, and then it's just exactly like multiplying. You leave the first number alone. You don't make any changes to that number at all. You change from division into multiplication, and then you take the second number and you flip it over, which is called the reciprocal. So you change from divided by 3/4 to times 4/3. And now you have a problem that is multiplication, and you follow the rules for multiplication. So I'm going to cross-reduce or cross-cancel right here, and get the answer 2/3. Now, it's important that you remember that you can only cross-reduce, you can only cross-cancel when you are multiplying. So you have got to make sure that you change the problem from division into multiplication correctly before you start cross-reducing. Okay, so let's consider we have 2 1/4 divided by, let's say 3/5. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is change this mixed number into an improper fraction. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And then I'm going to, as my next step, change it from a division problem to a multiplication problem. Leave the first number alone, change it to multiplication, and do the reciprocal of the second number. And now I have a multiplication problem just like the ones from the beginning. 3 and the 9 reduce, and I get the answer, 15 over 4. Okay, one more of these. If you happen to have a whole number as your divisor, so let's say we have 7/3, and we want to divide it by, well, I'm going to change that. Let's say that we have 6/5, and we want to divide that by 3. Okay? Well, again, just like the multiplication, it's a good idea to write that as a 3 over 1. And then we're going to change the division to multiplication, flip that 3 over 1 into a 1 over 3. If you notice that you can reduce, go ahead and do it. If you don't notice it, you just need to make sure you reduce in the end, and you have the answer 2/5. And that's a quick review of how to multiply and divide fractions.